if we can just go back to those questions. The first one, who to pay, council or rural? From the 1st of September, please pay rural. We are paying Eskom. We've given you guys copies as well of the proof of payment, and we are going to provide you with a proof of payment every month so that you guys can see that your money is actually going to where it should. You also will see all our vehicles. You've seen it all over the place. Those vehicles are busy working and working for the infrastructure to actually improve service delivery. So the cut-off date, or the start date for rural, 1 September going forward. Then council continues to invoice. That's unfortunate. I addressed that one. The acting MM wasn't aware of that when that was brought under his attention. Where to buy prepaid electricity. You now know where to go and look for the prepaid electricity. Is there a meter reading? Yes. And if there is not a meter reading, you will see an E after the meter, which means it's an estimate. Now, our policy in the group is we bill every month on an actual meter reading. You won't find us that we do an estimation. We only do an estimation every second or third. You know, we do an actual, the others are estimations. I buy the beers tonight. You won't see that we do estimations. Estimations are really in extreme situations. So you will see that on the account. Why are the accounts higher? The accounts shouldn't be higher. All that we're doing is we're implementing the tariff that we found here in Maluti. That's all we do. And we meter the consumption. So if your electricity is higher, either number one, you haven't been billed or metered correctly previously. That's the one. Secondly, it may be your neighbor's meter that the meter to the stand was swapped. These things do happen. I've got to tell you that. Number three. What's number three? You've been stealing electricity. I don't think so. That's true. What Eben is saying there, the tariffs were applied incorrectly. There's the tariff that's approved by NERSA. Council has implemented another tariff. And remember, we still have the Free State Development Corporation, FDC. People think if they're getting electricity there in Industrie-Qua, it's now rural that the electricity has gone up. Rural has got nothing to do with Industrie-Qua. Rural is only providing bulk electricity to FDC. FDC distributes to all the electricity users in Industrie-Qua. So that we don't have any control over. Who to contact? You've seen there. And then secondly, we call it the building site. It's unfortunately not very nice, but in the time period that we've had, we're very far progressed. 1 Stewart Street when you come into town. We are there. There's a whole host of people that's sitting there that can attend to your queries. So if you do want to come in, please feel free to come in directly into 1 Stewart Street. You've received the call center details, tariffs in line. Now let's just expand on this somewhat, on what are the tariffs that we're going to expect. The residential tariffs. If everything goes according to plan, we don't envisage increasing, the prepaid tariffs. Not on the block number 3 and 4. We're definitely not going to increase that. But block number 1 and 2 may well increase with something like 2 or 3% next year. Very, very little. And we want to keep that a small increase, if at all. And I'm giving you the worst case. We stand here and perhaps only the first 50 kilowatt hours has increased by 3% and nothing else. But to give you an idea of the range, those tariffs are already on the high side. Your prepaid tariffs, the residential tariffs, were affecting probably 800,000 people, were a little bit on the high side. And that we intend fixing. The industrial tariffs were slightly on the low side. Are we talking about a 20% tariff increase for the large power users? No, not at all. Not even anywhere close. You're perhaps looking at a difference in tariff of perhaps 5-6%, 7%, if that much. I don't want to say what we're hoping for. Otherwise, you guys are sitting and saying, "But you promised." Remember, this is not a promise. I'm only giving you an indication so that you know, may you pay more with 6% or is it going to be 60% more? Then as far as the commercial tariffs are concerned, the commercial tariffs is going to go to time of use, but again there, it's going to be very much of a muchness. And if you can bake your breads in the morning before 6 o'clock, you're going to pay a fraction of the electricity. If you want to have a bakery and you want to bake your bread starting at 6 o'clock because you like to lie in the morning, you are going to be penalized big time. Know that. That's as simple as it is, because there isn't enough electricity between 6 in the morning and 10 in the morning. That is the red period time. Then the 50 kilowatt hour basic, the free basic electricity. 50 kilowatt hour free basic electricity, everybody should still receive. What we haven't been able to get a response from the municipality is FBE on postpaid meters, like a credit meter. Is it on that or is it just on prepaid? So all the prepaids are receiving 50 kilowatt hours free basic. That's happening as we speak. That free basic electricity, we still haven't received any money, because remember what happens? The equitable share is paid from National Treasury to the municipality. The municipality receives the money for that free basic electricity that has to come to us to pay Eskom. The free basic electricity currently amounts to around about 4 million rand a month. This 2 months is gone, we haven't received a single cent. We hope that in future we will receive that free basic back so that we can pay that over to Eskom and we don't subsidize it, but at the moment we're still subsidizing the free basic electricity, and there shouldn't be one prepaid customer which doesn't get their 50 kilowatt hour free basic electricity. If you're not getting it, please come and inform us, because then there's something wrong with your individual account, not with, because the systems have been set up. There's also, we've had a few issues as far as the other vending supplier was concerned, but everything is operational now, it's working, so the 50 kilowatt hour free basic should not be an issue. Have I missed anything? Those were the questions we've started off on. Is there anything? Oh, the street lights. Sorry, I haven't covered the street lights. That was the one item. Why have I missed the street lights? Street lights is a bit of a difficult issue. You guys will also have to bear with us there for a couple of months. At least the guys that has the street light contract, because the street light head, the municipality is renting that street light head from a company. The municipality doesn't own the street light head anymore, they sold it. They now have to pay rent for the street light head. And that entity, the contract has been running for 2.5 years with the municipality already. And the contract goes along the lines that they have smart technology in every head, and the moment a street light malfunctions, they know about it in their control room, and that street light is fixed immediately. Now in 2.5 years, what we found is most of the street lights were not kind of working. They were either working in the day, or working day and night, or not working at all. So we're in the process, but the moment that we touch the street light head, then the guys are saying that there's breach of warranty and it's a whole bunch of issues. So we're in process of resolving that issue. So bear with us as far as that's concerned. The fact that the street light is lying in your garden, I think that could be a live conductor. I mean, that's very, very valid. Could we just take, there's a few rural people in here. We came en masse tonight if somebody wants to clobber us. So grab anybody with a rural chip and give him your detail or the issue of your nature of your complaint. He'll take it down in the black book and we'll actually execute. One of the things, if we can just see that the electrical engineer that's responsible for Harrismith, Yami, Kestel, Eben, can you just stand up? There's Eben. That's the person, if you don't have electricity at night, he's to blame. And then in Kwakwa, can we please just have you standing up, Yaku? Yaku is the caretaker for the moment. And these guys work with me on the takeover normalization team. In the next 2 years, they are all not going to be here. There's going to be local guys that care for their communities, that has had the opportunity to work with us, that we can impart the training. This whole operation from billing and customer care all the way to technical is going to be conducted by Maluti people, not by foreigners outside. All we do is we kickstart the process. So know that. We have a track record of successfully doing that. In Namibia, for years now, we have no South African in Namibia. The Namibian operations is being conducted by the Namibians, for the Namibians. They fight for their people. They know who works, who doesn't work, who has the issue, who doesn't have the issue, and they make sure that the services are delivered. And we have checks and balances in place to make sure that that actually happens. We operate under a court order that was granted by the High Court in Bloemfontein. The court order is also published on the website, and we actually make payments to Eskom. So where's your money? Our money is with Eskom. Your money is still with you, the bulk of it. We try to extract that, to actually get people to pay. But we legally operate it. The fact that the municipality is still issuing invoices, they in breach of the court order issue. Now, from rural side, we're trying to say to the guys, look what's happening. We're not your enemy, we're fixing things. Come the elections next year as well, I mean, the life is better in Maluti than otherwise would have been the case. So now, do we apply again for an injunction and actually have the people arrested, or do we actually make it as if they are unfortunately ignorant and they're not communicating the right message through to their juniors? In that basis, we may still have a relationship going forward. We don't want the grass to suffer. That's all the actions that we have taken was specifically to avert that. So I can tell you now, we're operating 100% legal. One of the councillors in the business forum meeting, she stood up and she did her homework as well all over and said, guys, you can pay your electricity account to rural, because until the court doesn't decide otherwise, we are the legal supply authority. Council cannot disconnect or force you to suddenly pay for electricity that you have already paid for, and which electricity has already been paid to Eskom. The deposit is going to stay with Maluti. Maluti is not going to transfer the deposit to us. That deposit forms part of your deposit account. The same has happened with Mafube, so it has nothing to do with the fact that there's a bit of an issue between us and the new management in Maluti. We didn't want to take the deposit. We're happy to manage as is. The moment, however, that a customer, because most of those deposits are so old and antiquated, we still find deposits of 50 Rand and 75 Rand all over the show. Now, are we really going to go for the hassle for somebody to pay that 50 Rand or to do a whole reconciliation for the municipality to pay the deposit over to us? No. What is going to happen is if you pay late, you are going to be required, and the bylaws allow for that, you are going to be required to pay over a deposit to us so that we can get it to the right value. Whatever that right value is, that's going to be what we're going to require. So what we're saying is the guys that pay their accounts and carry on, why do we need to label them with a deposit? They're not a risk. Those people that demonstrate that they paying late or not paying at all, and it's disconnections and reconnections, we are going to levy deposits on those accounts. Now, you do have a new account with rural. If it came over that I said you don't need a new account, then there's a bit of a comms gap. You will get a new account with rural. The account numbers that you have, your details, the registration, your cell phone numbers, because the moment we register you on our system, you go onto the website, you can change all your own personal details without even ever coming into any rural office. So what makes this nice is the website as well. If you are the owner of the properties, you can actually view all your tenant accounts on the website. You can see whether the guys have paid to date, You can see whether they are in arrears. You can see the amount of consumption that you use, the works. And what we have also done, and I don't know whether he is here tonight, the electrical consultant here in Maluti, people that have other users on their premises. So what's the option now? If I have 5 other users on my premises, how do I bill them for electricity? The local consultant, Shane Vessels, is here tonight. I haven't seen him. Shane Vessels is from S&W Consulting. We've got his details. I don't think there's another electrical consultant in town. I may be wrong. But he's the guy that can help you guys with a system, or with assistance, or just with general advice on how to manage sub-meters on your premises. But the nicety with this billing system of ours, you can actually say this account must be emailed to that tenant. But you have got access and supervision to actually see what's happening with the electricity accounts. Because remember, the property owner remains responsible for the payment of electricity and water charges and the like. Okay. Then the rates versus other municipalities currently, the rates are actually on the average. To give you an idea, Johannesburg is substantially more expensive. So if you guys were sitting in Johannesburg now, you would have paid substantially more for your electricity. If you were a commercial customer or industrial customer, the cheapest electricity would be Durban for your electricity. Cape Town is also relatively cheap. But Maluti, on average, is relatively cheap. We're in that ballpark. So all that we're going to do now is, although the tariffs are still too expensive as far as the prepaid tariffs are concerned, it is still way cheaper than what Joburg is concerned. Tremendously more expensive than what Durban or Cape Town is concerned. So those are the tweaks that we're going to go in. So what happens when you look at a smaller municipality? Should the rates be less because it's a small, poor community, or are the rates going to be more than the Johannesburg? Typically, if you go to Macro to go and buy your baked beans, or you go to a Spaza in Bloekambosch, in the Spaza in Bloekambosch, you're probably going to pay double what you're going to pay in Macro. So the smaller the municipality, the higher the tariffs. We're trying to turn that trend around by being efficient. If everybody pays for the electricity, what can we do with the rates? Everybody's rates can come down. Instead of making the rates so high that only 5% pay their rates and 95% out of necessity is to bypass their meters, we're trying to fix it the other way around. Then, local expert, I've answered that question now, I hope that's clear. Can we go back from prepaid to postpaid? Any person that wants to go from a prepaid meter, and the reason, and I may well just state that, why would somebody be so stupid to go from prepaid to postpaid? Because the postpaid tariff is a lot cheaper. It's considerably cheaper than, and next year the postpaid tariff is going to be even less, is going to be even more affordable. Why? Because the systems to run a prepaid system is expensive. Systems to run a postpaid system, if correctly applied, is relatively cheap. So that's why the rates. And remember also, a postpaid system you pay a basic charge. Prepaid you don't pay a basic charge. Actually you pay, but it's in the rate. Anybody that wants to go from a prepaid meter to a postpaid meter gets it free of charge. We install that postpaid meter free of charge. We don't even take the prepaid meter out of your house. We leave it there as a reminder. Okay? Those of you that want to go from postpaid to prepaid, you pay for the installation. Why? Because the metering installation has to be somewhere accessible in your premises to go and punch in your numbers. Which means there's considerable amount of work that we need to do, in some cases, to actually put that prepayment meter in. Currently, the system allows for a postpaid meter outside in the boundary box. The box is already there. The meters are there. The wires are there. So I say the meters aren't there, we put the meter, but it's just the cost of the meter. Labor is cheap, everything is cheap. So that's why, if you want to go from prepaid to postpaid, for this next 6 months, period until the new tariffs change on the 1st of July, those changes are going to be made free of charge. Okay. And that's about last one. Who has contract with Eskom? That one was explained. So we just need to hold thumbs that when we show Eskom our debtor book, that everybody is actually cooperating and everybody is paying, that we're going to rather have a meeting with National Treasury, the municipality, with provincial treasury and provincial government to find another way of settling that 210 million odd in arrears.